1811 4000। यही कंज्यूमर हेल्पलाइन।
जागो ग्राहक जागो।
Call UTVI, the only show in the country which puts you, the consumer, ahead of others. For the next half an hour, we will be taking your calls, emails, SMSs, loan transfers and loan closures. What are the things you need to know? What are the rights and how to smartly transfer or close a loan? So if you have any query related to loan transfer or closing a loan early, all you need to do is pick up your phone now and call us. The lines are now open. The number is 022-4098-7300. We also have an SMS number which is 5995, or you can email us at oncall@utvi.com. Here on the show, joining me today to answer all your queries is Professor S.R.Khanna, Managing Editor of Consumer Voice. Also in Mumbai, as usual, we have Mr. Kamlesh Rao. He is the Executive Vice President, Kotak. Mr. Rao, welcome on the show. And before we move on, I think we have here with our first caller, it seems Mrs. Gopal Krishnan from Chennai is online with us from Chennai. Mrs. Gopal Krishnan, if you can hear us, please go ahead with your question.
I just want to ask a few questions. You see, our son was having some difficulty in paying the EMI loan from the ICCI to the... He's having a property at Dahisar. Hello?
Yes. Mrs. Gopal Krishnan, please go ahead.
You can hear me. Acha, you see, you can hear me. You see, he is having some difficulty. So his parents, we are here, so we are paying it up. Now, I want to know, because ICI is charging 15% interest. Now, I want to know if this could be transferred to the SBI, who is charging 8%. We are paying it regularly, so I just want to know about this. Another thing is the restructuring of the interest rates. You see, ICI says the signature of the husband and wife is both necessary, son and daughter-in-law. The loan amount, first applicant is my son, the second is my daughter-in-law. Whereas in the cooperative society, she has taken the first name and put the husband as the co-partner there in that owner of the flat. Now, I want to know if my son could give power of attorney to his father, so that he could do it, because the wife is not prepared to sign the restructuring of the loan amount.
Mr. Kamlesh Rao, why don't you take that question first? The first question, whether the loan can be transferred from one bank to the other, and what are the paperwork that is needed?
Yeah, of course the loan can be transferred from one bank to the other. As you said, you've been paying the loan on time, so obviously you'll have a repayment track record of your loan. And any other bank which is taking over, as long as it is happy with the property, as well as the repayment track record of the customer, there is no reason why the transfer would not happen. But you got to evaluate what are the terms and conditions you're getting from the other bank transferring the loan. And you got to need to have a list of documents of your property, which will be there with your current banker. Produce that with the banker that you want to transfer it to, because when you transfer a loan, the other bank will need to first give the check out, and then the property papers will come to him. So from that perspective, the list of that documents is critical to be there with you.
Mr. Rao, Gopal Krishnan, thanks for joining us on the show. We will have your second question answered by Professor Khanna, but we have here online with us, Yatin is our next caller, who is online with us from Mumbai. Yatin, if you can hear me, please go ahead with your query.
Hello, good evening, sir. I'm Yatin Gora here from Bombay. I'm having my loans of ICICI Bank, which I have taken in 2003 around, for 7.4 lakh rupees. And now I would like to transfer, as the interest rate have gone down, I would like to transfer it to a lower interest rate loan, like SBI 8% or something like that, So can you guide me, how do I go about it? Thank you.
We'll just have it answered, Yatin, but Professor Khanna, if you heard Mrs. Gopal Krishnan's question, the second question, which was the important question, if you could address that first.
He talked about the power of attorney. Any individual can authorize somebody else to act on his or her behalf by a special power of attorney or a general power of attorney. So in law, the attorney holder, when he signs the document, he signs in the name of the person whose attorney he holds. And he has rights to do whatever the original person has. So if a power of attorney has been signed, sealed and registered, then it is a legal document. Should be able to do it. I see no difficulty in it. Of course, if there are other difficulties that you are having between the husband and wife, then I cannot say anything without looking at the more details of the case.
Mr. Rao, coming back to you, if you heard Yatin's question, it was again on transferring to a bank or transferring the loan to a bank which offers lower rate of interest. What is your advice to Yatin?
No, without getting into which bank, you always need to evaluate what is your benefit when you are transferring to another bank. Don't forget that your existing banker will charge you a charge for going out of the loan. The new bank will charge you a processing fee for getting into the loan. Depending upon the new banker, if he's going to ask you for registration of the property all over again, which you would have done with your primary banker, there will be cost involved in that. So my only advice to Yatin is he needs to sit down and do his calculations right, look at the actual benefit that he is getting, and not forget that he is getting this benefit over a longer term loan. And when he sees the actual benefit, puts the pen to paper, gets the maths right, is when he should start looking at the process of transferring the loan.
Very interesting topic we have picked up. It's loan transfers and loan closures. We have Ajit Gupta online with us here from New Delhi. Mr. Gupta, if you can hear us, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I'm Ajit Gupta. My question is about shifting of home loan from ICICI Bank to some new bank. I want to know that has RBI fixed any pre-closure charges for loan prepayments? Because ICICI Bank is asking about 3% of purchase. 3% for pre-closure of loan. Because ICICI Bank is asking. Next, I want to know that I have taken the loan 10 years at the rate of EMI of rupees 6970. I have already paid EMI for 2.5 years, and still I have to pay the EMI for 12 years. So, because it was for 10 years and I already paid for 2.5 years, now they are saying that you have to pay for another 12 years. So.
Right, Mr. Gupta will have that question answered. If you can, Professor Khanna, if you can answer the second question, is it justified that the bank asks him to pay the remainder of the EMI even though he wants to change? Did you get the question?
Yes, I got the question. The term was for 10 years. He has paid for 2.5 years. Now he is being asked to pay for a longer period. It obviously means that there has been a change in the rate of interest that is being charged. Otherwise, more EMIs, there is no question. So you need then to go into whether this was a fixed or a floating rate. If it was a fixed rate, you would have been better off. But if rates are going to be increased, now the option for you is make a comparison. Go to another bank and say, look, this is what I've taken, this is what I've paid, this is what the other bank is offering. Can you give me format, a comparative statement of how much you would charge? So as you are going to shop, from shop to shop, like this is mango season. So you want to buy mangoes, you go to one shopkeeper, you bargain the price, you go to the other and the third. Every banker is as good as a mango shopkeeper. And you are, as a consumer, go and shop for your mangoes, find out where you get the sweetest deal and then make the switch. So spend time, make out a schedule, find somebody who can give you, calculate the numbers for you, EMI, principal amount, what at rate, take it from the bank. Tell ICICI to give me a statement of how you have calculated more, how it is going more. Take it in writing from them. Take that piece of paper and go to other banks. Can you give me a better deal than this? If he says yes, move. But there are costs of moving, like mine has just said. You move from one bank to the other, there are costs. You have to re-hypothecate, there's legal costs, then there are costs of prepayment. And of course, I don't think RBI has specified prepayment charges. So it's a discretion of the bank.
I'll come to that question towards the later part of the show about foreclosure. Just because we have one more caller online with us, it is from Mumbai. Sridhar, if you can hear me, please go ahead with your query. It doesn't look like that we have Sridhar. Sridhar, if you could hear me, I don't think we have Sridhar online with us. But about this, coming to this very important question, Professor Khanna, about foreclosure and what are RBI guidelines? Are there actually any guidelines? Is a templated way of looking at it, or can banks charge foreclosure charges arbitrarily?
See, normally it's not foreclosure, it's prepayment actually. That you are paying, or you are shifting, or you're paying.
Prof.S.R. Khanna, let me just interrupt you. I think we have got the caller, Sridhar. Sridhar from Mumbai, if you can hear me, please go ahead with your question.
Yes, sir. I taken the loan from Kotak Bank.
Go ahead, Sridhar.
Hello. I taken from the Kotak Bank.
Yes, Sridhar.
For personal loan. But right now I am jobless. So I not pay the EMI of 3 months. But the person calling me, I gave the warrant on you, did not pay the money on that. So what to do right now?
Mr. Kamlesh Rao, if you heard this question clearly, what is the kind of advice, without obviously getting into the bank details, what is the kind of advice that you can offer to Sridhar?
No, I didn't get the question. I just heard he had a loan from Kotak Bank. After that, I kind of didn't hear what he said.
He says he's jobless. He doesn't have money to pay. What does he do? Hang himself?
That was Professor Sriram Khanna.
I mean, I'd like to know what the banker thinks.
No, actually, if there is a situation at a point in time which is temporary, then I think banks have lent out a scheme which says if there is a break for 2 months, 3 months time, he pays part of the EMI at this point of time, or he has an option of only servicing the interest point of time before he gets back to servicing the full EMI or the principal. These are kind of options which are available. It depends, again, as I said, on the repayment track record of the customer. There is no reason when he was in job, if he has paid all his installments on time, if this is a temporary issue at this point in time, there is relief that is offered by banks in various formats. He should come to the bank, discuss it. We have a full-fledged customer service cell and see what best option can be offered to the customer at that point in time. I don't think there is any need for the customer to hang himself.
Mr. Rao, that's correct. The problem was not with Kotak as much as it was with the other bank, but we definitely do not want to get into the bank details. We head into a break now. But a quick reminder, if you have any query related to loan transfer or closure, all you need to do is pick up your phone and call us. The lines are open. The number is 022-4098-7300. We also have an SMS number which is 59995, or you can email us at oncall@utvi.com and we will answer them right here on the show. So please do call us. Welcome back to the show which puts you, the consumer, ahead of others. Today we are discussing loan closures and loan transfers. And if you have any queries, our phone lines are open now. Just call us at 022-4098-7300. We will have your queries answered here on this show right now by our two guests, Professor Sriram Khanna, who is here with me in the studio, and obviously Mr. Kamlesh Rao, the industry expert. Professor Khanna, before we went into the break, you were saying we had a caller who was mentioning that he's out of job, doesn't know how to pay his EMI. You had some kind of advice to offer.
I would like to mention the presence of an advice center called Disha, which has been actually floated as a charitable enterprise by ICICI Bank, surprisingly. This gives advice to consumers who have financial problems, who have difficulties in repaying. So my suggestion to you, to people in that situation, will be call up, look up the website, ICICI Bank or Disha, and go and meet these people, visit them. There are centers in Delhi that I know of where I live. There are centers in other cities. Go and meet them, tell them, and they will give you advice.
Khanna, let's just interrupt you. And we have Aditya Banerjee is online with us from Gurgaon. Mr. Banerjee, if you can hear me, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, hi. My question to the experts is, the kind of the foreclosure rates for home loans that is employed by banks, is there a standardization or some kind of a benchmarking which is done by them when we approach them to foreclose loans? And is this information available in the public domain? That is basically what I wanted to know. Is it an arbitrary sort of rate that they fix, or a percentage of the loan, or is it something that, that we need to negotiate and we can discuss with them? Thanks.
Mr. Kamlesh Rao, why don't you take that question? Is it available? Is the foreclosure rate available on a public domain?
Actually, interest rates of banks or charges that they charge, be it the interest rate, be it the foreclosure charge, be it prepayment charge, what are the facilities available, it is extremely mandatory for all the banks to make sure that information is available to the customer before he takes the loan. And as per current norm RBI, which are very transparent, you need to make sure it is available in the application form, not in the agreement, which normally is a very large document, and therefore it is possible that the customer may not be able to see it or read through it. On the face of the application form, all these details are available. Customer can make a choice and a decision when he sees all these charges upfront before he gets and decides which bank he wants to get into. Having said that, like interest rates that you need to be reasonably competitive in the marketplace, all these charges are normally in a band. So a foreclosure charge may stay normally in a band between 2% and 3%. There are some banks which will offer you not full foreclosure, but you can foreclose or what we call part prepayment, like we offer in a bank, and then there are no charges for those part prepayment. So look at the schemes, look at the rates. All of that is supposed to be made available to the customer before he gets into a loan, so that he can make the right choice of which bank to get in when he is deciding to take the loan.
Professor Khanna, it seems, has some advice on that. Professor Khanna, tell us.
Bankers are very smart people. That's why, you know, some of them are traveling in Mercedes, and people like us are traveling in public transport. So they are smart because they make you sign so many things without your knowing it. So first advice, anybody going for a loan, dealing with a bank, signing anything, make sure the form you are signing is filled completely. Don't leave any blanks. Because normally they take your signatures and they fill up the blanks at pleasure and leisure. No. And whatever you sign, even if they are forms that are not fully filled, take a photocopy. When filled after your signing, you are not legally bound to do it. And normally, the gentleman has just said what is right, that all these facts are written in the application forms or the agreements that you are signing. So there will be a clause that the bank will have the liberty to charge so much in these circumstances. Of course, these are ceilings. But depending on market conditions and competition, if you are a smart customer, if you are a smart consumer, that means you're a unionized consumer, you belong to a consumer association, and there's someone to guide you and advise you, then you go and bargain. Like you bargain with your mango wala.
That's exactly my point, which I wanted to Mr. Kamlesh Rao to address. Mr. Rao, if I understood Aditya Banerjee, who was our last caller, his question correctly, then he said that is the information about foreclosing charges available on a public domain? I think what he wanted to know is the fact that is it available for all banks so that it can be compared at a level playing field? Is that the norm for the banking industry and not only for, let's say, Kotak?
No, it's not. It's actually there. You see, there are a lot of sites which give you comparative features of various banks, a lot of them in the domain. Banks for themselves need to make sure on their own websites all this information is available. Having said that, you see, a bank has to run finely on credibility of making sure that, you know, I don't know of banks that will make sure that they will fill in the photocopy of the document after the customer has signed that. But when you get a customer in and when you get a customer out, these are two times where you have to be extremely conscious of the service that you lend to some of your customers. So in terms of information, it is completely available. Having said that, if you have signed something, and that's true about anything that you sign, if you have not read the document fully and correctly and then post that to hold the bank responsible, may not also be fair from a customer point of view. As long as the amount of information that you need to have is made available to you transparently in the beginning, you have the right choice to decide, like Mr. Khanna said, which mango to buy and which shop to buy. You have a choice to decide which bank to take that loan from. So as long as the information is available to you completely.
Right, Mr. Rao, we will interrupt you here. We have here with us Mr. GM Rao, who is online with us from Ahmedabad, though I think he is in Delhi now. Mr. Rao, if you could hear me, that is Mr. GM Rao, if you could hear me, please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, I have asked my bank, HDFC, to convert it from fixed interest to floating interest. But I heard that there is an annual system of calculating the floating interest and monthly system. I don't understand that are there, and the consumer, people are not that there are so many systems. There is no system. The government, informing us. And at the end, I had paid up. I'm still paying 5. And when I asked for a second change to convert it to monthly, they have again asked me for 0.5% of the balance amount. I have done that, and now I think it will be converted. But what will happen to the excess money I have paid in the past? Will there be a case that I can request for that recovery of that money? Thank you.
Mr. Kamlesh Rao, though the line was not clear, I think you got the gist of his question. A, he wants to understand that if he wants to transfer his loan from a fixed to a floating, then why does he need to pay a foreclosure charge, and what are the things that he needs to keep in mind while doing that? The second part of his question, I think Mr. Khanna would answer, which we will come to later. But Mr. Kamlesh, if you could take the first question.
Yeah, sure. I'm saying there are choice that is made to a customer at the beginning. We have a lot of customers who may, in the lower interest rate scenario, got loans at even 7% and 8% fixed. And it has stayed like that because the bank has offered him a 10-year or a 15-year loan, which is fixed in nature. And customer for taking a floating rate, which obviously means that as the interest rate keeps on increasing or changing in the marketplace, then his rate would definitely keep on changing. So to make a switch between what we call a fixed interest rate and a floating interest rate, there is no foreclosure charge. There are banks which charge what they call a switch fee, because obviously while the customer may want to time it correctly between fixed and floating, and you always want to make sure you want to have the lower interest scenario, there is a cost involved basically in terms of doing that, and that's the fee that the bank charges. It is not a foreclosure or a what we call prepayment or part payment fee. It's a switch fee which is again indicated at the beginning of the application itself to the customer.
Mr. GM Rao, thanks for joining us on the show. We head into a break now, but do remember we are answering all your queries on loan transfers and how to close a loan early on this show. So please do call us, and our lines are open now. It's 022-4098-7300.